What is up, YouTube? This is Alucard AFK with another MTGO game with commentary. So we're back on Modern, and we're playing Affinity. Master Affinity, in fact. With my good buddy, Corey, aka Decree 27.
It's this time you're piloting the deck, and we were on Skype together while this was happening, and we kind of just got to watch it unfold. And Alucard did a really good job. So it's a powerhouse deck, and let's get into seeing what it does.
Okay, so opening hand we have a Thoughtcast, a Darksteel Citadel, a Volt Scourge, a Cranial Plating, yay, Steel Overseer, Signal Pest, and a Midnight. And I was actually leaning towards mulliganing this simply because we have one land. We did have Cranial Plating. That was a good reason for me to keep it. But Thoughtcast is where Corey was like, okay, so if you can just get another, get a blue source here, you're in there like swimwear, as he says. So, and Thoughtcast is very powerful, as you'll see. So let's go ahead and let him go first, and he'll do a turn one Thoughtseize, so we know Cranial Plating is gone to the wind now. That's exactly what it goes for. And by the way, we're playing Pudding Time. If you've ever been on the tournament circuit on MTGO, you'll have seen Pudding Time in his Jund deck. Almost said Bant.
Yeah, I've made that common mistake too as well. But I've seen Pudding Time, and he plays really good, and he's a solid player. So he's to be respected in that regard for not making bad plays. And obviously he made the correct pick with Cranial Plating. So, and here we go with an Inkmoth Nexus in our hand, which is that second land I was talking about.
So go ahead and throw a Midnight out, zero casting, Signal Pest, and we'll go ahead and say go. And Raging Ravine, it is a card in Magic.
That's all I got.
Signal Pest. Go ahead and put Darksteel Citadel out. Go ahead and swing in.
Now we didn't want to play any cards beforehand because he had one red mana open, and you really never want to play cards in the first main phase unless it's going to affect how much damage you're going to be able to put in, which none of the cards we had would do. So we decided to just attack in efforts of continuing a more methodical way to play the game.
So at end of turn, we'll go ahead and put Signal Pest out, pay some life, and put Volt Scourge out.
It's pretty good value. Also to be met with also another good value card.
Maelstrom Pulse. So he'll get rid of both Signal Pest.
Kind of walked into that one, but I think it was worth the risk, because if he didn't have it, we would be really beaten in really fast, and he wouldn't be able to survive.
So right here, I was really leaning towards Cranial Plating. I was really excited that I got it back. It's always good when they get rid of your Cranial Plating in the first turn and you get him back, by turn 3. But Thoughtcast is what we really want to go for here, so as soon as we can. And so we'll swing in. He'll go to 14 and 19. We'll be almost back to 20 again.
The Steel Overseer gives us great late game, which was obviously removed, and he, Pudding Time, saw that and correctly played an Abrupt Decay, because if you allow Steel Overseer to activate, it becomes quickly out of control, and he did not want that to happen.
Right. So great play. And we got our Mox Opal, so that's exactly what we wanted to see. So there's our blue source, and what an amazing Thoughtcast. So we got another land, which we needed, and another Cranial Plating. So that was probably the best Thoughtcast in history.
Indeed it was, and it worked out to our advantage. There was still quite a bit of land left, and options available to it, and we ended up getting a land which enabled us to play our Cranial Plating and equip it to our Memnite. Now, equipping it to the Memnite was a questionable thing for some, because they might think, hey, let's go ahead and equip it to the Vault Scourge, and the Vault Scourge would be an obvious play, but he has one red mana open. You want to equip that Cranial Plating to a creature that you can afford to lose. In this game against Jund, you can't afford to not gain life, because he has an ability to turn the game around in an instant. Lights out, because he's got fast damage, which becomes quickly out of control. So you put it on a Memnite, which is expendable. If he has it in his hand, he kills the Memnite, you still have your Volt Scourge, which gains life and negates any kind of damage.
Exactly. So we'll go ahead and swing in with Midnight and Volt Scourge, and Midnight is now at 6-1. He'll go to 7. We'll go up to 20.
This is where the drum roll happens. And what does he play? Ta-da!
Bloodblade Elf, Cascade into Liliana. Not good enough. He could use the -2 ability, make us sack our Volt Scourge. We could attach our another Cranial Plating to Midnight and destroy him. So that was a good game. First game ended on turn 5. And we'll go on to game 2.
All right, so we're on to game 2. And as I was saying to Alucard, I was telling him that, you know, the deck was going off on turn 3 and 4 and winning. Those speed and you know, and that much speed, it's got so much power and speed that you can't stop it from happening. However, when you play against a deck that has removal, you have to play a little more cautiously. So the normal circumstance of just going in and winning and just going reckless abandon for the house is not necessarily what you want to do. So you play a little more cautious, which causes you to go off, and beat him on a turn later than you normally would, but you still win. The outcome is still the same. You just make sure that you maintain board control and control of his hand. And that's what I was going with Alucard and talking to him about. So I figured I'd let you guys all know that it is a very fast deck, and because it went off on turn 5 does not necessarily mean it's a slow deck.
Right, exactly. So sideboard options, we pulled out Master and pulled in Etch Champion, 3 for 3. And then we also pulled out the Arc Bound Ravager for Spellskite, right?
Yep, 3 for 3.
So opening a hand here, we have a Signal Pest, a Blink Moth Nexus, Etch Champion, which is one of our sideboard cards, Mox Opal, Volt Scourge, Darksteel Citadel, and a Glimmer Void. So if he can get that turn 1 Thoughtseize or Inquisition, he's going to go for Etch Champion. And that's exactly what he's going to do, and that's exactly what he went for. So very smart player, very nasty player, but
it's a solid play.
So we got our zero casting Ornithopter.
Makes Affinity go frowny face.
So Mox Opal out to Blink Moth Nexus and Signal Pest and Volt Scourge for 2 life. So pretty much just emptied our hand the best we could. And he'll go ahead and play his Swamp. And we will get a Signal Pest. So out comes Darksteel Citadel. And we'll just go ahead and put Blink Moth up in the air. He'll do a Rakdos Charm on Signal Pest. Did not see that coming. Destroy target artifact option. Can't say it was a bad play or a bad card, just did not see it coming.
I didn't either. I had no idea that he played the Rakdos Charm in his deck, but it is a good sideboard card against other decks. I suppose it's got a lot of choose one abilities that, especially the graveyard ability is quite significant because he doesn't have access to white. So that would be his best way to do something surprising, like in response, bang, your graveyard's gone. So
we'll go ahead and swing in with Volt Scourge and Blink Moth. He'll go to 18, we'll go to 19. He'll go ahead and put a Cliffs out. And Liliana will come out on the board. So -2, target player sacks a creature. So we'll go ahead and get rid of our Ornithopter. Now that, I don't really think that was a useful play. I got rid of an Ornithopter, and we're going to swing in with a Volt Surge or, Blink Moth here to kill Liliana. So her value is kind of much gone.
It was a 1-for-1, and that's all it was ever going to be. If you look at his hand, he's got 3 cards in it, and he knows Affinity is all gas. So he's going, well, I better slow it down the best way I can. And it didn't work. So
one Blink Moth on Liliana, 1 Volt Scourge on him.
More life gain for you.
Back to 20. We stayed at 20 pretty much the whole match here. So Verdict Catacombs will get his green source now, and that means Maelstrom Pulse. So that was, again, a latch-dis effort, but like you said, he has 2 cards in his hand now, so he had to get rid of stuff as he could and try to regain some board control here with Deathrite Shaman, and unfortunately his strategy here is not going to pan out for him. So
in most cases where Inkmoth Nexus is not on the board, Deathrite Shaman is a house. It stops people in their tracks, and you can't win. But we have an Inkmoth, so we go with another strategy. But as you see here, we decided to go with another Blinkmoth attack, because even swinging with one, it still wouldn't really affect the game.
It'd be the same play, essentially.
Yeah, yes, it wouldn't stop the clocks from being any less.
So he goes to 14, we go up to 21, and then of course next turn, like you said, we're going to go for the infect damage, and it wouldn't have been any different if we had played it the Inkmoth rather than the Blinkmoth in that turn there. So this is really where he's got to shine. He's got to have some sort of way to bounce back. And we pull a Dark Steel Citadel. Go ahead and put Inkmoth up in the air. Go ahead and pump Inkmoth with Blinkmoth. He'll do Deathrite Shaman. Each opponent will lose 2 life. So we'll go down to 19. And we'll swing in with Volt Scourge and Inkmoth Nexus. So we're back at 20. He's at 13 with 2 poison counters. For Catacombs, Tarmogoyf. So he's a pretty big boy, 6'7".
That's a cost-effective card if I ever saw one.
But the nice thing about Affinity, I think, is that we have tons of blockers that don't really cost us anything, and we have Spellskite out in case he wants to try to remove Inkmoth, but he has no cards in his hand right now, so
we're not afraid of removal, obviously. So we have Signal Pest. It comes out on the board. We activate Inkmoth Nexus, then we pump Inkmoth Nexus, and we swing with Inkmoth Nexus, and that's our plan. And I think he's realizing with the Deathrite Shaman that it's kind of pointless to try to gain life. And it's really pointless to lose life. We're at 20.
So we leave Volt Scourge back just for blocks. Initially, we're thinking that would be need to do, keep Volt Scourge back rather than swinging in here. It turns out we didn't really need to do that, but you never know. So we'll go to 4.
Well, our strategy is no longer kill him with life points.
Exactly.
It's kill him with the infect counters.
So Bloodbraid Elf, cascade into his own Spellskite, and he'll put both on the board. And then he'll go ahead and swing in with his Bloodbraid Elf, Tarmogoyf, and Deathrite Shaman. We'll just block Bloodbraid Elf with Spellskite. We'll let Tarmogoyf swing in because we are at 20 life. We can afford to take a couple hits.
And we're gonna gain 2 life with Volt Scourge too. So
yeah, exactly. So Ornithopter will come out. He can be a good blocker. We'll put Inkmoth up in the air again, pump him once more, and then go ahead and swing in with Volt Scourge, Signal Pest, and Inkmoth. He'll go to 7 poison counters, 10 life, and we'll go up to 15 life. And you'll concede the game on turn 8. So that was a game, set, match, and really good game, really good match.
I think so, and you piloted it very well. It's a new deck to you, but you seem to take onto it pretty well, and you held your own. But then again, it's Affinity, and Affinity has been really good since the inception of Affinity. I know I've said it before, and everybody out in the community is probably going, yeah, it's Affinity, but Affinity wins games. It's not being played a whole lot, and I don't know why. But Affinity wins games, and it continues to win games, even against Tier 1 top decks like Jund, and it'll continue to do so until they, I don't know, get rid of Affinity. I can't see why you wouldn't want to play it.
Affinity has been hit with so many ban hammers and still survived, and I don't think any other deck in the format can really say that.
They definitely can't boast about the same resilience on other decks too. Just think if Jund lost Tarmogoyf, or if Jund lost Maelstrom Pulse, if Jund lost name another card in Jund, and it would destroy it. I mean, they took out Bloodbraid Elf in the latest ban wave. That can be replaced by
Huntmaster of the Fells.
Huntmaster of the Fells, and there's not really a hiccup there. But get rid of Tarmogoyf, and they really are just like hurting.
Exactly.
So, Affinity is what it is, and it's going to win games, and we did really well here. And I hope this displays to those out in the YouTube community that it is still a force to be reckoned with. And we might show a couple more, I think. I mean, if that's what you want to do, Alucard.
Yeah,
But
definitely. So.
but I think we've made a pretty good example of why this deck is still good.
Right, exactly. I'd like to thank you, Corey, for dual commentating this and being my co-pilot through this match. So this is like the second time I've played this deck online, but you have an affinity for Affinity, so to speak.
Indeed, I do, and I thank you guys for allowing me to be here again, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay. Guys, thanks for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. We'll catch you later. Bye.